So today's topic is evapotranspiration. In the last session we have discussed this runoff, isn't it? So today we'll discuss this topic, evapotranspiration. Again, the topic is familiar to all of you because even from the very childhood you people have studied this topic from the class 6. So again we will try to understand some technicalities can be added here to understand the topic in more detail, right? So let's start the topic. So first, evapotranspiration. So first we need to understand what is it, right? Isn't it? What the evapotranspiration is, right? So you can easily understand. You just have the combination of two separate processes. You can look at the things there. You can understand the things properly, right? First is a evaporation and second is transpiration, right? So when these two words has to combine together, the next term that come into the picture is evapotranspiration, and both the terms is very much familiar to all of us, isn't it? Evaporation and transpiration. So what the evaporation means, we all know that when there is a loss of water from the soil surface or any other open water body because of heat, isn't it? So if there is a heat, so the soil surface or if any other water bodies is there, so their open surface has to release some water because of heat, isn't it? That is loss of water from the soil surface or from any other open water body, that is called evaporation, and this process has been happened because of heat. If there is no heat, there is no evaporation at all, isn't it? And the same process happened, the same process, it means again the loss of water from the plant surface. This is the only difference between evaporation and transpiration. Evaporation means any water body, any surface, soil surface or any other water body surface, that is evaporation. But if transpiration means the loss of water on the plant surface. This is the only difference between evaporation and transpiration. Process is same, and because of heat both the evaporation and transpiration has to be takes place, right? If there is a heat, then evaporation will take place, obviously the transpiration will also takes place there, right? And when you are going to combine both the process, that is called evapotranspiration, that is known as evapotranspiration, right? And we also understand here it that whatever be the total amount of water that has to be lost, right, that has to be lost in the form of water vapor into the atmosphere. It is the surface, whatever the surface is there, but the water bodies, plant surface, from where the water has to lose, but water has to lose in the form of water vapors, isn't it? So that is the process, and that is the basic meaning of evapotranspiration, right? Then we can have this sub process of this evapotranspiration. That through this image you can easily understand that, right? These are the sub process, you can say that, of this evapotranspiration. So evapotranspiration, there is evaporation, transpiration. The same statement has been depicted through the diagram. So open water, soil, vegetative surfaces, and then transpiration from the plant surface, right? Here the vegetative surface, basically the land we are talking about, right, where the vegetation is there. Otherwise you may have question, you are going to ask why you are writing plants and the vegetative surface. So here vegetative surface basically represent the area where the vegetation is there. For example, the forest area and other kind of land mass, we can say that. Have you get that? So evaporation have a this subsystem, evaporation, transpiration, and evaporation from this open water, then we have a soil, then vegetative surfaces, and transpiration core from the plant surface here at all, right? So I hope up to this point the concept is clear. Is there any question till this point? So this is the basic understanding, or you can say that the general information on the evapotranspiration. I have give you the definition, and then how this evapotranspiration divided into sub processes, that has been explained through this image. Now we need to know the type of evapotranspiration. This is another important thing that one should understand here, right? So there is two classification has been made. First is potential evapotranspiration PET, second is actual evapotranspiration AET, right? So these two, and maybe some books or some here you are also going to study some one evapotranspiration that is called RET, right? That is called referential evapotranspiration. So you can also study somewhere. This is the third classification of evapotranspiration. So listen carefully. For one, this two you will get everywhere: potential evapotranspiration (PET), actual evapotranspiration (AET), and then the third kind you'll find that is also known as referential, right? Referential ET. ET means evapotranspiration. The third classification will get. So let me explain you all this classification one by one here, right? So first, potential evapotranspiration. So here you understand that this concept is basically given by Thornwell. There is one scientist, the name is there, Thornwell. He is given this concept, and potential means the ability, right? As several times forget about this, we will tell that this is your potential. Potential means you have that kind of ability, right? So that is potential evapotranspiration means same thing is there. Potential measure of the ability of the atmosphere, ki what the atmosphere is able to do that, and what actual doing is different thing. It means what the ability, it means what should be or what ought to be, right? That is ability of the atmosphere. So that is potential evapotranspiration, right? Try to understand properly. P is a measure ability of the atmosphere to remove water from the surface of the process of evaporation and transpiration, assuming no control of water supply. So forget the water supply, ki from water is coming. The thing is that ki what should be the evapotranspiration rate, right? Or what the ability, right? Or what the atmosphere can do for this evapotranspiration process. That is measure of the ability of atmosphere, right? That is called potential evapotranspiration, right? Or if you have to understand in a very simple, you can say that it is the highest rate of evapotranspiration, right? Have you got that? It's the highest rate of evapotranspiration, and from any kind of vegetation. Generally, if you talk about the vegetation, so the short height vegetation, which is completely cover the ground with abundant water supply at any given climatic condition, right? So that is potential evapotranspiration. So let me again repeat what I have told you. Potential evapotranspiration is given by Thornwell, and it is the ability of the atmosphere, or ability means the highest rate, the maximum capacity atmosphere has for evapotranspiration. Have you get that? So this is the meaning of potential evapotranspiration, right? It means what should be or what you are able to do, that is potential. Now come to the actual. So actual means what it is, right? What is it is present, what is the things going on, actually removed, right? What it is, these are the things, what it is and what should be, right? As forget about a few seconds for hydrology, as think about yourself. Sometimes your parents or that you have a potential to score 90%, but what you are getting 70-75%. So what it is and what should be. So what should be the potential, right? And what it is actual. So in the same concept you can use here in the evapotranspiration also. Potential means the highest maximum capacity that you can produce, right? What should be, and actual means what it is, what the actual situation is there, what is going on in the present condition there, right? So that is actual evapotranspiration. So it is the quantity of water that is actually removed from the surface due to the process of evaporation and transpiration. So this is the only difference in potential and actual. Potential means ability, here is a actual, here is a actual. Is it clear? Both the terms clear to all of you? Potential and actual transpiration. Is it clear? Is there any question from this term, both potential and evapotranspiration? Is there any question? Okay, fine. So let's move with the things. Right, so this is just the one process what the things has to be how the things has to be work here, or we have already discussed in this in a water cycle. Okay, so this is one of the role how this evapotranspiration has to act here. So this the things is already discussed. So evaporation, then transpiration. So after that, after reaching certain height, there is a condensation process and the precipitation will be there. All these things has been discussed in hydrological cycle, so I am not going to in detail. Right, it's just adding here so that you understand the importance and how this evaporation transpiration has a role in water cycle, right? And now this important factor affecting evapotranspiration that we also need to understand here. So these are the factors you can easily see in this screen: environmental factors, plant crop factor, geographical factor, and the soil factor. So there are 4 factors that has to work here in this evapotranspiration. So we will discuss all these factors one by one, how this environmental factor has a role, how this other factor has a role in this evapotranspiration process, right? So let us start with this environmental factors. So in the environmental factors, so these are the basic things that you can witness there in the environment, isn't it? Air temperature, then you have humidity, movement of wind and air, moisture, water level, and solar radiation, right? Now how these things going to contribute in the evapotranspiration? So let me explain you first. Air temperature. So obviously if air temperature, the more temperature will be there, so more is the evapotranspiration, right? It means temperature represent basically the heat, the amount of heat that has been on the surface. So if more heat will be there, so you will witness more evapotranspiration. So as the temperature increases, evaporation also goes up. So now next to the humidity. So humidity, you understand that what is the meaning of humidity? Humidity means amount of water molecule in the environment, isn't it? So if humidity means amount of moisture, you can understand the or amount of water molecule in the environment. So if the condition is totally unsaturated, so more evapotranspiration will be there, right? And if when the air becomes more and more saturated, then less water is able to evaporate into that air. Have you get that? So humidity also going to control the amount of evaporation or the transpiration process. If more humid condition will be there, so less evapotranspiration process will be happen, and the vice versa. It means if less humidity, more evapotranspiration. Have you get the concept here now? Now movement of wind and air, right? So how this movement of wind and air has a role in evapotranspiration? So this movement of air and wind is going to increase both evaporation and transpiration, right? Why? Because moving air is less saturated than the stagnant air. Stagnant air means the air has stopped somewhere. So if air is stopped, it means it is going to accumulate the water molecule from nearby the surface, water surface, and it is get saturated, right? But if air is moving, so moving air will be less saturated, because moving air has to face several kind of heat condition. So some air it may lose the water molecules or the humidity, some air it may gain water molecules. So moving air is less saturated, so the evaporation and the transpiration is going to increase here. Then moisture and water available, right? So whatever be the water that is available in a condition, so according to that the plant has to transpire the water. So if less water is available, which means plant begin to transpire less water in an effort to survive. That need to understand there. And if there is less, transpiration will be there, which is going to slow down the evapotranspiration process. So listen carefully again. Moisture or the water available, it means the quantity of water available in certain place. So if less water will be there, so less transpiration will take place. If less transpiration, it means less evapotranspiration, and the condition will repeat. If it is more water, so more transpiration from the plant, and it will be more evapotranspiration there, right? And solar radiation, this is heat. You can easily understand the intensity of heat. So if the heat is more intense, temperature is soaring, so what will happen? It has a direct impact on the rate of evapotranspiration. More heat, more evapotranspiration will takes place, right? So this all part is clear to all of you in your mind? Is it clear how the environmental factor has a role in evapotranspiration? Is there any question from any point here? Okay, then let me move to this next factor, that is plant and crop factor. How the plant and crop factor has a role in evapotranspiration process. So there is three things that we need to understand here: vegetative cover, leaf shape, size, type of plant, right? So vegetative cover, you can easily understand that it means stand, is how many number of trees that is available there, that is vegetative cover, isn't it? So if you should understand like that, if it is a dense vegetative cover, right, it means, try to understand all of you, if it is a dense vegetative cover, it means this soil surface is not exposed. It means there is no or minimum evaporation from the soil surface, first thing that, right? And we will get more transpiration, chances we will get the more transpiration, because if the vegetation is there, it is also going to cover the nearby water bodies, or it is provide the shade to the nearby water bodies. So through this we are able to control the amount of heat. So evaporation will be less and transpiration may be more, because we have a vegetation there. So in through this the evaporation or the evapotranspiration process can be increased or decreased. If the soil surface is exposed, it means less vegetation is there, so more evaporation will take place from the surface, right? So in this way vegetative cover has a role in evapotranspiration process, right? Then leaf shape and size, obviously leaf shape and size, right? So it is, if it is a more broad leaf, it means what? It is supposed to release more and more water in the environment. It means more transpiration will take place. So more transpiration means more evapotranspiration will be there. Leaf shape and size, isn't it? And the type of plant, so different type of plant basically here representing the species. What kind of species we have? If the species is succulent, so succulent species has a less transpiration, so less transpiration result in less evapotranspiration. But if it is certain kind of some broadleaf species we have, or some other species, so that may have a role in evapotranspiration as per the local climatic or the local microclimatic conditions. So through this way the plant or the crop has a role in evapotranspiration, right? Both the things clear to all of you? The the environmental factor and plant and crop factor. Is there any question? Okay, so let's move through this. The another factor, that is geographical factor, right? It means area geography, the latitude and the climate, isn't it? So this evapotranspiration also depend upon an area geography, their latitude, their climatic conditions there, which means if you look at the globe, so there are certain region which is getting more solar radiation. So if more solar radiation will be there, so for example near the equator, so those places on the globe that is near to equator, right? So the near to equator, they are supposed to receive more solar radiation. So more solar radiation means more heat. So if heat will be more, so more evapotranspiration will takes place. Have you get that? Is it clear? So in this way, and if you talk about the climatic conditions, so obviously if climatic is hot and dry, so obviously highest rate of evaporation will be there. And if yes, Konsam, do I have to ask anything? You have raising your hand. You have to ask anything? Konsam. Okay, now understand geographical factors. So I told you first area geography. It means how on the globe where this region or where this place has been situated. So as I told you, near the equator the heat will be more because of the more solar radiation, so more evaporation will take place. That's why our southern part of our country has so much heat there, right? And then if talk about the climatic conditions, so if climate is hot and dry, so evaporation will be more there. If you go and latitude, it means if supposed to move toward the higher latitudes, as higher the temperature of that area is bit cold, so at the higher latitudes the evaporation is less there. So this way the geographical factor has to act for evaporation process. Then soil factor, again you can easily understand that because you have already studied soil science in detail. So there is a water table depth and soil moisture, isn't it? Right? So water table depth, soil moisture, these two things has a role if soil factor is there, right? So if you can understand it this way, if soil is lacking moisture, so if soil has lacking moisture means if it is a less amount of water, it means plant begin to transpire less water in an effort to survive itself, isn't it? So if less transpiration takes place, it means there is a decrease in evapotranspiration. And then water table depth, what the water table is there, right? If the water table depth is below, more depth will be there, obviously less evapotranspiration process will be there itself, right? So these are the four factors that has to act in the process of evapotranspiration, right? Now the significance, how this evaporation, it means the role or the importance of evapotranspiration, that also we need to understand here, right? So this is the significance. It means in a water cycle this evapotranspiration is important because it is responsible for 50% atmosphere water vapor, right? And this is going to maintain the soil temperature, right? This is also very important. Through the evapotranspiration, soil temperature can be maintained, then help in movement of nutrient in plants because if evapotranspiration will takes place, right? Then the movement from the ground, movement from the water from the lower level to higher level will be takes place, that optimizes temperature of plant. It means the inner temperature of the plant can be controlled, can be at their best possible position. Then plant cell turgid, which provide a proper shape to the plant. Turgidity means you have seen the leaf or everything has to stand, is a very stiffness. If you are providing proper water to there, so that is called turgidity, right? So through this evapotranspiration, plant cell become turgid and also provide the proper shape to the plant here. So these are the significance of evapotranspiration, right? So this all about for this evapotranspiration. These are the some references that even you can access for more understanding of the hydrology and evapotranspiration too, right? So these are some reference. So this all about for the evapotranspiration. So now if you have any question, any doubt, you can ask.